Good morning, everyone. My name is Jake. Welcome back to my channel. This is where I talk about my astral adventures and what I'm up to while everyone else is sleeping. So I just had a really cool experience and I wanted to share it with everybody before it started to fade away or whatever. I've already been up for a few minutes, but it's still very clear in my head. This is the second time now that I've taken my physical body into the astral, and I really feel like I'm learning a lot about limitations and the limitations that the idea of a body gives you. Even in a realm that is created by your own subconscious, unconscious, collective unconscious, or what have you. So, what happened was this: I woke up on a boat, okay? And I was on a boat with one of my friends, Aaron. And this was probably a different Aaron in a different reality. But it was just like my friend Aaron. I had a long conversation with him, and it sounded just like him. It looked just like him. It was Aaron for sure. But I don't know if it was an Aaron from this reality. So I have no idea if my friend Aaron is going to remember or anything. Now, we were on a boat and the waves were really high. And I had like some sort of a suit on or something because I was like I could only talk through like this area of my head. And I was telling Aaron how I was in a dream state. And Aaron was really he couldn't quite grasp that I was in a dream state. To him, I was right there in his boat. So I said, okay. So I looked. I said, I want to see a couple of things um, to see if I can, tell if it's really you or not when I get back to 3D. So he had two watches on, two silver watches, and he had a ring on his wedding finger, his ring finger, and also on the boat. I don't even know if he owns a boat in 3D, but in this reality, he was renting one. And these waves were huge. I mean, I was just like, wow. I had never been on a boat hitting waves like this before, and the boat handled the waves really well. Now, in dreams, vehicles are usually or can be a symbol or a representation of, well, if you think about it, it's a vehicle. So it could be how you treat your body because your body is like a vehicle. It could also be how you take care of yourself. So like if you have a dream that you're in a car crash or you're like driving a car and it's like crazy all over, sliding all over the world. I mean, all over the road. It could be a symbol that your life or the way that you're treating yourself or something is a little bit out of control or stuff like that. So there's a lot of symbolization, a lot of symbolism going on with vehicles in dreams. Very, very common. Very common. But as with all interpretation of dreams, you're the only one that truly knows what your dreams mean. So, even though you can get help from other people, and it is very insightful, always listen to your own intuition and figure stuff out on your own. Okay, so we were on the boat, and then I also saw something hanging from the boat mirror, like, and there was like these hearts, these cutout shaped hearts, and they were like black. So that was really interesting. And then I started to come back to my body. Okay. Now, when I'm in these in between states of consciousness, I usually I like try to separate back from my body to go back into the astral, but Ever since Mari said you can take your physical body in, I was like, okay, I'll take my physical body in. So much easier. So I just took my physical body into the astral. Um, and it was so much easier not having to spend all that time separating from the idea of your body. So I had the idea, I found myself in an in-between state of consciousness. I had the idea of a physical body. I took that idea of the physical body with me into the astral, and I dove. I like dove into the astral, and when I woke, well, I was awake already, so it's not like I woke up. So at first when I dove in, everything was completely black and I could only feel my way around. Okay. So the frequencies that I was interpreting in the astral were only coming through in the astral were only coming um, through my feeling. Okay. I couldn't see anything yet. And then my body, the idea of the body that I had in the astral, started to interpret the frequencies in a different way where I could actually see things. So I was in a dark room, and the room was made of like cloth all around. And inside of the room, there were three wolves, and there were a bunch of people and children trapped. So it wasn't very comfortable because there were like people, scared, and there were wolves trapped in there, and everybody was scared of the wolves, and I was scared of the wolves. And I tried to, even though the wolves weren't harming anybody, they were just walking around in there like, what am I doing in here? Just like I was, basically, and probably like everybody else was. So what I'm interpreting that is I dove in to basically the lower astral, where I was trapped by my own or even some collective egregors, and there were some other conscious beings in there that were also trapped in the same room. Um, Fear is what traps you. So when you venture into the astral, you're going to have to face your fears. You know, that's one of the main reasons why you should go, is to face your fears head on, to see what they really look like, to see what they really act like, and to see how you really handle it. Now, a lot of people, they're scared to go into the astral because they don't want to have the experience of facing their fears, because their fears can be, scary. So, this work, this type of shadow work of going into the lower astral to face yourself, is not for the faint of heart. It's a deep shadow work. It's a deep spiritual work that, I promise you, has great rewards, but you have to go through the thick of it. And it's really difficult, and it can be really difficult, but it gets easier as you go on. So I realized that there was nothing to be afraid of, and I just needed to break out of this room. So I just ripped a hole through it, and boom, I went into the dream, into the astral. So that was like ripping a hole through the room that I was in, and letting the sunlight come in. And immediately I saw the ocean, and the ocean was beautiful. The ocean was so beautiful. And I stepped out onto the beach, and there were some people sitting there watching me. And I stepped out onto the beach, and when you break out of a room, if you're in a house and you break out of a house, okay, say I'm in a house, there's boarded up windows or whatever, I'm looking for a weak spot in the house. If you were trapped in a house in the astral and you saw boarded up windows and there was a little bit of glass you could see through the boards, that would be a higher frequency area than the rest of the house. Okay? A solid wall has more of a low frequency than a window. So you would break through that higher frequency area, and then you would expose yourself to more high frequency areas. Okay? So when I ripped a hole through the wall, it was normal low frequency, all the whole room was. So I just ripped a hole through the wall, and then I saw the ocean. So I went into a higher frequency area. So, so when I stepped out onto the beach and I saw the ocean, I'm actually going to cut this off right now. It's already been 11 minutes. So stay tuned for part 2. This is where it gets really interesting. Okay, thank you for watching. I'll be right back.